excuse me.
Good morning. All right, can we come to order? I don't think so. There we go.
Speaking in the wrong one.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, and on behalf of the Board of EPB and all the staff here at EPB, let me welcome you and tell you how delighted we are to have you with us on our 4th anniversary of our fiber optics project that not only has met our expectations, but in many respects has gone beyond what we expected. It's kind of like plowing new ground. You find things and you learn ways to do things with those things that you haven't had before. So we're delighted to have you with us. We've got a good many of our elected officials with us this morning. I would like to recognize all of our elected officials, staff from the legislative offices, the federal offices, the county offices. Would you please stand? Let's welcome you, all of, come on. Here's the order of events this morning. We're going to hear from several of major players here in the city. We're delighted to have our Chattanooga Mayor, Andy Burke, County Mayor, Mr. Coppinger. We've got our Chairman of City Council, Yusuf Hakim. And we also are going to go back a little bit in history. We're going to hear from Rick Montague, who was one of the key players many years ago in the 70s and 80s when Chattanooga was not the Chattanooga we know today. Then we're going to hear from 2 young people that were not even in Chattanooga back in the 70s and the 80s, and they can't remember what we were back then, in those days where sometimes at 12 o'clock high noon you had your lights on your cars because it was so dark out there, and it wasn't because it was the kind of fog that they have in other parts of the country. So we're going to hear from them, and that's Sheldon Grizzle with the company Lab, and Bobby Rakova, who is co-founder of a new startup here in town, HutGrip. So first, to kick us off, I'm going to invite Harold DePriest, our CEO here at EPB, to come and get us off and going. Harold?
Well, good morning, everyone. I was just thinking this morning, I've worked here at EPB for the last 42 years, and during that time I've learned a great deal about this community. We talk a lot about the Chattanooga way, and I think I've learned what that consists of. And I think we basically have 3 things that work well together in our community. One is that we have smart and friendly, hardworking people here in Chattanooga, here in Hamilton County, in this region. The other is that we have great leadership, civic leaders, governmental leaders, business leaders. And the third thing is that we have wonderful philanthropic organizations who have invested wisely in our community for decades. When you put all of that together and people work in an atmosphere of trust and respect, incredible things happen. Today I have the pleasure to speak on behalf of the men and women of EPB, and we want to announce a gift to the community. This is both our way of saying thank you for your business, thank you for being our customers, thank you for supporting us, thank you for letting us play a part in the development of our community. Today, we are announcing that the Chattanooga Fiber Network is increasing speeds once again. For those residential customers who currently have 50 meg internet speeds, we're going to increase that speed to 100 megs. For those customers who have 100 megs or 250 megs, we're raising their speed to a gig. For those customers who are already at a gig, we're cutting the price. We'll also be cutting the price for the 250 meg customers. For our business customers, we'll be contacting you individually your service is a little more complex, and we need to talk to you about making the changes at a time that's convenient for your business. But we're also going to be increasing our bottom business internet speeds to 100 megs, and we'll be increasing everybody else's speed except for those gig customers, and we'll be reducing their prices a little bit. Let me just say, this is, I think, an incredible community. And I think this is probably the best of times to be a part of this community. We want everybody to know how much we appreciate getting to be a part of what's happening here. And this is our little bit, and it is a little bit, but it's our little bit to make Chattanooga a better place to live and to work and to play. Thank you very much. Now let me introduce our mayor. Mayor Burke, would you come speak to us?
Thank you so much, and it's wonderful to be here today. You know, Harold said he was thinking about his past as he was walking over here, and for me, actually, on my short walk, what I was thinking about was Chattanooga's past. There was a moment over 100 years ago that really played a critical role in where we are today, and I want to just revisit that for one second. A couple of people from Chattanooga went down to Coca-Cola and said, we would like to bottle this syrup that you had. And at the time, the people at Coca-Cola thought the only thing that matters is serving this in a fountain drink. They didn't see the future. They weren't thinking about innovation and what could happen. They thought they had the way to do it. And so, in a way that still reverberates right here in Chattanooga, people had the foresight to go down there and say, let's bottle this drink. And because people thought it's going to be too expensive, they can't do this, the customer won't really ever want this, the people who came from Chattanooga ended up with, for $1, a priceless opportunity. And this is really what we see, again, to me today in the EPB Phi and what we're doing. Harold calls it a gift, and listen, I'm always happy to get a gift. But what I really think we're seeing more is an investment, a true investment in the future of our city and all that we can do. Because if you look around today, that spirit of innovation, of entrepreneurship is around us everywhere. Since EPB Fiber Optics was born 4 years ago, more than 1,000 jobs have been created by innovators all across the city. You look at Hut Grip, as you, I think, are going to be talking later on today, Banyan, but many others are right here because they understand not just the technology, but the spirit of the people and the fact that leaders through our federal, state, and local government are all focused on how we innovate and become the city of the future. Just last week, I was talking to people at the Ford Foundation about what it is that's so special about Chattanooga and how we're able to capitalize on this opportunity in a way that other communities, quite frankly, just haven't been able to get there. And I think that says a lot of special things about the people in this room, like Harold and his entire team, the people at EPB Fiber, and also the civic leaders that we have throughout our community. So as we look at what's going on here today, we know that internet speeds are going to be more accessible than ever to our public. That's fantastic. But to me, it's really about what we do with it now. Because I think you will see as we move on that we will have more innovation than ever before in our community. Thank you very much, and let me introduce my colleague and friend, Mayor Coppinger.
Well, good morning. And again, what a great opportunity. You come up to the EPB, and when you're standing at this podium, it's always good news. So thank you, Harold, and to your team and to the board members of EPB for this accomplishment and what it means to our community. Again, as you've heard, they're going to minimize the cost of this service, which again, in the surrounding areas, not only in Hamilton County, but a 600 square mile area that EPB currently services, what this means to the community is phenomenal. So again, I just want to applaud the hard work that you do. And we do know that there's going to be nearly 300 homes in this area that's going to be impacted by this. which gives us the distinction of not only having the highest concentrated area for the gigabit service in the country, but also the ultra-fast connectivity that we're going to have, not only in the affluent areas of Hamilton County and the city of Chattanooga, but to all of the areas that are serviced by the EPB service. And the reason I think that's really important, and what I want to point out is that historically, whether it's in Hamilton County or city of Chattanooga, wherever it may be, unfortunately, people in the rural areas, and some of them that are less privileged, are sometimes underserviced. And what they're being able to do with this infrastructure, the communication abilities, are going to be enhanced tremendously. And so I'm delighted that we're going to be able to see this in Hamilton County. I also want to point out, too, I think something that's really extremely important to Hamilton County and what we get up every day trying to focus on is our public education system and what it means to all of the residents here in this area and what it means to future businesses, existing companies, as you're trying to replenish your workforce and the workforce that we're trying to create when we create jobs here. What we're doing for 42,000 students in Hamilton County is we're making available to them this service, helping to prepare them for the economic situation globally, not just here in this country, but we know how important that is now. We are competing in a global economy. And they too are going to be able to use this infrastructure to help them prepare for opportunities of the jobs of the future. And at this time, I have the distinct privilege and pleasure of introducing to you the chairman of the City of Chattanooga Council, Yusuf Hakim.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is a good day. And, you know, sometimes we take so much for granted as to what we have. But think about it, ladies and gentlemen. The term I've used is a perfect storm. We have an entity like EPB who is utilizing the creativity. You have a government like the City of Chattanooga and Hamilton County who stands out of the way of progress. And you have philanthropic community that is more than willing to assist us in being the city that we want to be. Now, I think we are very fortunate, very blessed to be where we are today. I've been fortunate to serve this community in many capacities, and I echo my colleagues on the City Council when I say that we've been blessed to have an entity, an asset like EPB in this community. And having worked for General Electric Company for 25 years, I can say that the smart grid that's been developed to modernize and improve the electrical distribution system in its own right is groundbreaking. And think about it. We're saying just words like when we talk about gigs and all of that, I'm just listening. I don't know what you're talking about. but when we talk about the power outages and so forth and reducing that by 60%, how important in it, particularly in the wintertime, is it for our people? And well, summertime too, I need my air conditioning. All right, but I'm saying that they're not standing still. EPB is not standing still. It's moving forward in all of our interests. And I wanted to introduce, and I don't believe she's here, former council person, Maybelle Hurley. And then Mr. What's your name, man? Montague. Rick Montague. He's been out of town, so out of sight, out of mind.
That's right.
But in regards to Maybelle Hurley, who is not here, this is a lady that I have great respect for. I had so much respect for this lady on the City Council, it took me at least 6 months to call her Maybelle. I had to call her Mrs. Hurley because I know of the input, the involvement, the dedication that she's had to making this city what it is today. And the gentleman that I'm going to introduce at this time, Rick Montague, he was right alongside her. So Rick, if you would come forth and give us your presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to follow that by saying a word or two about Maybelle myself. Maybelle was the key to the success of Chattanooga Venture. I'll put that in historical context. But Maybelle had the unique ability in this town at this place to know who needed to be in a room, what to do when they got there, what to do after they left, and to make sure that everybody did it. She was the only person who could have gotten corporate executives, union members, civic workers from all parts of town to come together. I would like to think that I could have done that, but I know that I couldn't have. And if I'd been able to do it, I wouldn't have been able to tell them what to do or how to do it or when to do it. And Maybelle could do that. So let me add my great thanks and admiration to Maybelle. One of her very close, dear, lifelong friends died, and I think for her to do these two things in one day was just a little bit too much for her. I want to thank Dana and Harold and the EPB for inviting me today, and I want to thank Ken Hayes for trying to tell me what a gig is unsuccessfully. I probably know less about more things than anyone in this room. I understand that in the 80s, John Kinsey felt that he had the confidence to come to Harold and say, let's do something great because of the successes that Chattanooga Venture and the Moccasin Bend Task Force had in changing this community. There may be some truth in that, but I don't think so. Chattanooga has never worked better, looked better, acted better, or had a better national and international profile than it does right today. And of course, part of the reason that we're here. Many of you know that my wife and I are co-chairs of a History Center campaign to raise $10.5 million. We've got $1 million to go. The purpose of that is to make sure that everyone, and not just our school children, not just our residents, but everyone in the world understands the importance of Chattanooga and the civic lessons that we have to teach to the world. One of which has to do with our great industrial infrastructure, its decline, and the renaissance of this city. People come from all over the world to hear about that. And before I go on, I want everybody to focus on how we could have had such a strong industrial infrastructure and allow all of that promise to slip out of our hands. And I think that will not happen again because of institutions like this, because of meetings like this, and because of the spirit that lives on in Chattanooga. We're in this room at this moment for two very different reasons. One, of course, is that the railroad right-of-ways followed the railroads followed the trails, the fiber optics eventually followed the railroads. On a completely different end of things, in 1988, there were some design guidelines created for the Miller Park District, which won the first Progressive Architecture Award in the state of Tennessee. And this building, which we know was just completed, is a result of those guidelines. So let me tell you a little bit about what was going on. I cut my civic teeth with the Moccasin Bend Task Force. As the president of the Lyndhurst Foundation, I was appointed to that by both the city and the county. There were 7 members of that. We met over a 3-year period, and we worked so hard that Harold Coker told me at the end of the first few weeks he'd like to find somebody to replace him. And he did, and we worked, all of us, hard. We had more than 65 public meetings in all parts of the county, and what we were trying to say repeatedly is we want to build for the future that's worthy of the beautiful natural environment that we have here. We want economic development. We want to put Chattanooga on the short list of cities. We want to raise the community's aspirations, and we want you to help us do that. We feel that we were very successful in creating that riverfront plan. That led to the creation of Chattanooga Venture, which was an open planning process. Come one, come all, bring your ideas. The infrastructure of a civic incubator, which was led by Ron Littlefield and with Maybell looking over his shoulder, where people could bring their ideas and we could try to turn talk into action. That's part of the Chattanooga way. So let me wrap up by saying Chattanooga was home to the largest program to upgrade housing for the poor in the country, and we were leaders in wanting to be able to do that. We have the world's largest freshwater aquarium. We've got more things that are emerging daily, of which we want to hear more. But I want to thank you for this opportunity. I hope I never have to do this again. But I want to say that everybody in this room has got the power, the opportunity, and the structure to recreate Chattanooga again and again and again so that we never suffer that 20-year decline. We're always 20 years ahead. And you're part of it. Come on up. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. First of all, I am honored and extremely humbled to be speaking up here with you gentlemen and you, Bobby. I'm not from here, as you mentioned, I believe Joe earlier. I'm originally from South Florida, moved here to go to Covenant College, loved it here, mainly because of the work that Rick and the Lyndhurst Foundation and Maybell and Chattanooga Venture and all of you guys did before I even came here. A lot of that work was put into motion even before I was even born. And so to stand here today is just, it's a humbling experience. So my name is Sheldon Grizzle. I'm the founder of the Company Lab, director of the Gig Tank. Go into that in just a second. I'm an entrepreneur who's been helping other entrepreneurs start and grow their ventures for the last 5 years here in Chattanooga. Our vision with the Company Lab is to help entrepreneurs of all kinds, whether they're doing a restaurant or a retail shop or a technology venture, start their businesses and make Chattanooga a healthy place for those businesses to launch and grow, to attract talent, to attract capital, and to spin off new ideas and start the process all over again. 2.5 years ago, well, I believe it's the 4-year anniversary, but 2.5 years ago, there was a group of entrepreneurs, investors, community leaders that got together, and we saw this asset of the gigabit fiber infrastructure, and we were saying this is something that we should try to figure out how to take advantage of. Businesses are always trying to figure out how they differentiate themselves from other businesses in the marketplace. Communities need to do the same thing. And so looking at our infrastructure, this is something that's truly unique, and that we figured we could figure out ways to leverage it and take Chattanooga into the next generation. So we had groups like Lamppost Group, Chattanooga Renaissance Fund, and Solidus Capital on the private side, the investment arms that came to the table. We had the Chamber of Commerce, the Enterprise Center, the Lyndhurst Foundation, River City Company, Benwood Foundation, and there were many others as well. We all came together to figure out how we could launch this new program, which we call Gig Tank. So Gig Tank is an accelerator that invests in technology-based businesses that try to figure out new business models to run on an advanced fiber network. So it doesn't necessarily need to be all about gig speed, but the ubiquitousness of that gig speed is just as important as the pure speed. And there's new business models that you can run on that. And as I travel around the U.S. and around the world, talking with people like Bobby, and I was just in New Zealand last weekend talking to some folks over there that are running a nationwide gigabit infrastructure, and they're just drooling over what we've done here. And while we don't know exactly where all of this is going yet, we're making really, really good steps, and we're attracting new talent, new ideas, new capital, which is going to be the lifeblood of the next 20 years, like you just said. So it's an honor for me to be playing a role in that. It's an honor for me to get to work with people like Bobby Rakova, who are she's from Bulgaria. And so she's going to tell you just a quick minute about what she's doing. and people like her are going to be building the next 20 years in Chattanooga. So, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sheldon. And again, I'm very, very excited to be here. And just a year ago, when I first heard about Chattanooga, and I heard that it's called the Geek City, and this was really like, why is it called like this? And we really found out together with the team there from Bulgaria that this can really create new opportunities for our business. It can give us a chance to go and to reach more people. And really the fiber optics can bring not only the speed of the high speed of the 1 gigabit network, but also the reliability and the efficiency that people need. And especially in our business, HoodGrip, which helps people in manufacturing increase the efficiency of their production and eliminate failure. So for them, efficiency and reliability are key. And really, we are very happy and excited to be here and to base our business here and to really utilize the things that the fiber optics brings us and be able to work with people here. Thank you all, and I'd love to bring back to you.
If I could just put things in perspective for you. Last night, we converted about 3,000 homes and businesses to a gig. We have about 55,000 customers in all. We'll be working for the next 2 weeks, we think, to get all of the rest of our residential customers up to 100 megs. And we'll be contacting all of our business customers to find a convenient time to work with them. They'll have a minimum speed of 100 megs, and then it'll stair-step up to a gig. We think this is fitting for our city, and we thought it was particularly fitting to have people here today who I deeply admire, because in 20 and 30 years ago, when there was very little that I saw that was hopeful, they saw hope and they saw a future that was much, much better. And we've had speakers today who are leading our community, making it a wonderful place today. And we've seen some people here who are going to be leading it, I think, in the future. So what a great picture of Chattanooga, past, present, and future. Over here we have cupcakes, and over here we have a demonstration of a gig. That is the festivities, folks. Oh, one more thing. We have T-shirts for everybody who is here. We won't require you to wear them, but we would really like for you to wear them someday because it's free advertising. Thank you for being here.
Frank Brock product, right? And many others. My son Tom has a shop on Main Street. And yeah. Said that the numbers are.
I gotta find the 10 spiders. You got my phone? Yes, sir, I do. Good job, Rick.
All right, I'll be by to see you sometime soon. All right.
Please do.
Tell them Yeah, I saw that. Well, let me tell you what. Always had great leaders.
Yeah, she was a year behind you.
Sheldon, great work, buddy. You too.